Tayler Saucedo. Now, we're going to try and get in serious mode here when talking about Sauce, because as we've talked about, there's two modes you kind of have to be in. And as much as we love to talk about Sauce picking up a bat and hitting a 500-foot bomb against Josh Rojas, or the always entertaining Babe Ruth talk, we're going to talk about what he's actually done on the mound so far this year, because he has been awesome. This whole bullpen has stepped up big time in the absence of Matt Brash and Gregory Santos. And you could highlight a bunch of different guys. I talked about Trent Thornton this week on Twitter, saying how he's been way underappreciated. But we're going to focus on Sauce for this segment, because he has been used in just about every situation so far this year. And he has risen above the moment every time. The dude's got a 2.74 ERA, and all of his expected numbers are even better than that. He has looked dominant.
His performance off the field has been more important. The Mariners are 5-2 since he tweeted Babe Ruth is real. Turning point of the season.
The reverse jinx does work sometimes. See, now you've got us back into Babe Ruth sauce mode. Like
he directly contributed to this. The Mariners had an excellent week because of that tweet.
You know what? How do we up his war for that? Like, how do we call up Fangraphs and Baseball Reference and say, you know what? Push it up.
I don't think anyone, you can't prove that they didn't.
No, you can't.
It's like the imaginary Babe Ruth came out of the sky, because he was imaginary, right? And he was a ghost back in the 1900s when he was playing for the Yankees. So he's still alive, obviously, because he's immortal. Comes down and is like, I appreciate you supporting me, Sauce. Here's a 5-2 week.
I really tried to start that segment serious. I really did, saying, he's really pitching well. Everything's working for him right now. And immediately back to Babe Ruth talk.
Do you want some statistical analysis? Look at his Baseball Savant page. Those of you who like dabbling in that, and come away with any terminology besides "holy shit." I dare you. I dare you. It is a lot of red. He's doing a lot of things that he probably won't sustain. He's striking out a third of his batters. He's not a strikeout pitcher. He's struck out 21% of his batters last season. His sinker has been way better than it was last season. It's up to an exceptional start so far this season. We're talking to a 138 expected batting average, 162 X slugging. The average exit velocity off of it is not even 84. It's absurd. That is an absurd pitch at that moment. Those numbers are pretty hard to sustain. They'll probably come up a little bit. But, outside of some bad luck against the Red Sox, where the Red Sox managed to drive in a handful of runs off of him on pitches that were not even close to being strikes, but somehow they put the bat on the ball, and all you can do is tip your hat to them. He's been total lockdown. And it's come to the point where Scott Service, trusts him to get the biggest outs when they need him the most. Ryan Stanek's melting down on Tuesday night, and Scott needs a guy out of the bullpen, and Stanek dives into the turf, and he roughs up his hand, and Sauce needs to get ready quickly, and it is Sauce that comes in and gets the final out for Scott. That was, are you familiar with Leverage Index?
I don't know. On Savant?
No, it's on Fangraphs. It's a Fangraph stat. So it is the higher the number, the higher leverage the situation is. I forget if 1 or 0 is average, but there's an average number there. I believe 1 is average leverage index, and then anything above is way more. Anything below is not leverage. But that was the second highest leverage situation he's entered in on the Mariners. That's pretty telling. Hey, the game's on the line. We've struggled to start this year. Sauce is coming in to close out this game. Pretty cool. Pretty cool that it's that out of all guys. It's Saucedo. Hey, get up quickly and got to get this. That's the guy he trusts to go get that right there. That kind of speaks a lot, and it comes back to Scott saying, "Hey, he's our silver bullet. He can do a whole lot of things for this team."
I was going to say, you look at the outing he had against the Reds, where he comes in for one batter, gets the final out, and gets him out of a jam to win the game. Paired with, not too long ago, he was in Milwaukee throwing 2 2/3 innings of scoreless ball, because when Emerson Hancock got roughed up, the Mariners needed a lot of bullpen help that day, and they had to fill a lot of innings. And Sauce usually doesn't go prolonged outings like that. It's just usually not the way he's been deployed. But he went 2 2/3 innings of scoreless ball. He threw 40-plus pitches. He was awesome. So they've used him in a lot of different ways. I think that's what Scott Service means by calling him their silver bullet. He's pitched in so many different scenarios this year, and none of them have proven to be too much for him, to the point where Scott called him a utility reliever during his media session on Wednesday. And I actually like that phrasing, meaning it does not matter what situation you throw Sauce into. He's built for it, and he can execute. He's proven that so far through the first month of April. And having that paired with Gabe Spire, two really dominant lefties that you can trust, that does a lot for a bullpen.
I'm kind of jealous of the situation Scott Service is in when managing his bullpen. When Santos and Brash get back, you're going to have 4 high-leverage righties, a high-leverage lefty, a utility reliever in Tayler Saucedo, who can do everything, and then a long guy in Austin Voth. Isn't that every manager's dream right there?
And you're still leaving out Trent Thornton. This dude.
Oh, and Trent Thornton, sorry, yeah. And Trent's been really good so far.
Isn't Trent's ERA now under 1? I can confirm that in a second here. But this dude has been almost impeccable, Trent Thornton. And if Trent Thornton is literally the last guy in the bullpen, that's crazy. Or maybe you call it Voth, if Voth's going to be more of the long reliever or is used in different situations too, because Voth's been more used as a traditional reliever so far rather than used at length. But if that's your last guy, okay, Thornton's ERA is slightly above 1. It's 104.
Oh.
If that's the last guy,
Cut him.
If that's the last guy in the bullpen, remember those lists that came out that legitimately did not have the Mariners bullpen in the top 10 to start the year? I don't know what those lists were doing. I don't know if they were trying to stir the pot, but I'll tell you what, that bullpen when Brash and Santos are back, not only is that absolutely a top 10 bullpen, that might be the number 1 bullpen.
You know what makes Taylor even more valuable? It seems like more and more the Mariners want to use Gabe Spire as the high leverage lefty, the most dangerous spot where lefties are coming up. I would assume Scott, if he doesn't already have Munoz or one of those high leverage guys in there, he wants Spire in there. Mm-hmm. Spire has pitched this year. He looks like he could borderline close. Like that's how good our guy Gabe has looked. Mm-hmm. But you also might need another turn through the lineup with lefties. And having a guy like Sauce to also be there and do that with, no disrespect to how Sauce has started the season, but like a utility, like an ultra utility lefty and then a high leverage lefty too. It's like the perfect combination, the perfect like double barrel of lefty you could have.
This team has to get to the playoffs, dude. They just have to. And they have to stay healthy. But if you get to the playoffs with this rotation and this bullpen, good luck to every opposing team. Like, just get in. The offense is enough when everybody starts to click, and they will. When Garver starts to click, when Ty France really starts hitting for some power, everybody, JP, Julio, that is a good enough offense to get yourself through the postseason, paired with what might be the best rotation and bullpen in baseball. If this bullpen can all stay healthy, and those are your 8 guys going into the postseason, there's no bullpen out there that's that good like the Mariners have. No bullpen's going to match that if everything goes the way we think it's going to go. And when Tayler Saucedo's your utility reliever and he's your number 5 or 6 guy out of the bullpen, but he's been so good that his xERA sits at 154, it's amazing what the Mariners continue to do with bullpen arms and what Tayler Saucedo himself has managed to do since getting to Seattle. Because all of his hilarious off-field theatrics aside, which we love, when it's time for him to get serious and get on the mound, he gets up there and dominates.
Yes, sir. He follows the North Star to the mound and through the lineup. Yes, he does. Sorry, I had to get one last one in there.